Therefore, all that rhetoric of Elijah Muhammad, no matter how bold it came off, it was only rooted in lies and deception. Furthermore, his call never brought about a viable long-term change for Black Americans. It may have benefited the Black community in some economic respects temporarily, but perhaps it mostly benefited himself personally and his family, who they used to call the royal family. But what are the long-term benefits that can be witnessed up until today?
The first court case to be won in the Supreme Court allowing religious freedom for Muslims and all religions was won by a man in the Nation of Islam named Thomas Cooper. This court case set precedents for any future strides to have access to Qurans, prayer rugs, hijabs, kufis, and even hold Jummah prayer in prisons across America. What else? The proliferation of Islamic language, names, and principles, leading not only to the first Islamic school in America, but the only nationwide Islamic school system to date, called Muhammad Schools, aka Sister Clara Muhammad Elementary School. There is no other Muslim group that has a nationwide school system in America. The Nation of Islam had institutions and fought, bled, and died for Black Muslims to be respected in this country. Initially in Detroit in the enclave of Hamtramck, Michigan. Now the first Muslim city government is established in Hamtramck, Michigan by immigrant Muslims who benefit from the work of the Nation of Islam. What about the Nation of Islam helping to create an environment for a post-slavery society? Some remnants of slavery, aka forced labor, still proliferated in America until the 1930s and 40s. Maybe if the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was teaching in Saudi Arabia, they would have stopped enslaving Black people way before 1962. How you got the correct creed, and America had to convince you to stop enslaving Black people. What else? A post-Jim Crow and segregation society. The influence of the Nation of Islam during the Civil Rights Movement forced America to decide between separation and integration. And of course we know what they decided for their own benefit. What about the largest mass shahada in United States history? Now I know what you're going to say. That was W.D. Muhammad, not the Nation of Islam. You cannot separate a leader from the group or the nation that they're leading. Because when a leader does something on behalf of his nation, they both get the credit, no matter who likes it or not. Asking what are the long-term benefits that the Nation of Islam gave us is like asking what are the long-term benefits that Gaza had on the Palestinian people after Israel destroyed it. And before you say, what do you mean? The Nation of Islam was designed to be a nation for Black people in America who were subjected to an unjust ruler. The United States government FBI COINTELPRO documents state that its goal was to destroy the Nation of Islam by changing their philosophy to strictly a religious one, as well as dismantling their $100 million corporate empire. During this time is when we saw a shift of U.S. foreign policy and its support and funding of Wahhabi Islam in America. The United States of America succeeded in destroying the Nation of Islam's almost $100 million corporate empire that employed more than 11,000 people across the United States. And mind you, this was all done without a physical separation. But Black America could not experience the full benefits that the Nation of Islam had to offer because the United States government succeeded in convincing the masses of Black people that being accepted by white people and drinking from the same water fountain as them was more important than autonomy. So that's why you might as well go back to the theological argument, because a logical and reasonable